Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Folks, sorry for this small delay. Couple minutes. I think we are here. We are here. We're almost, at the end. And just let me send out the links. Okay. Okay. That's this. This goes here. Of course, I still see. Oh, if I'm still going to see if any one of you has like stuff already up and running, And yeah, there we go. There we go. So. Here we are. We're going to actually study. Don't mind this. I came back to Matara's sketch. Tomorrow we are making a second drop, right? So, but I need to finish Matara for the drop that we are working on right now, which is drop number 4. But that's not the case. That's not what we are going to work on. So let me just do things. Let's change things a little. For me, it's easier to change the image resolution because I can just change it to the. I have way better, traction and such around things. So yeah. But I have better control, and I know that if I'm going to boost it by certain amounts, that if I'm going to boost it by certain amount of DPI, it's going to give me the perfect canvas size that I need, kind of for drawing. So yeah, we are going to learn some environment, and basically, let me explain first of all how we are going to do that. Let me just first take care of couple things here and there. All right. So. Yep. Okay. Nice. Alrighty. So basically, when we are learning art, we're learning the first rule of art, basically. And the first rule of art is that everything can be decomposed into simple shapes if it's 3D or 2D shape. And same as with humans, for example, right? So you've seen probably me drawing like the, the circle for the head, then slightly lower. Actually, usually it's more or less this length. It's like more or less half of the head height to accommodate things. And we are using things like this, right? So basically each thing has like its own some sort of a rule to it, right? So the rib cage, or just basically the torso itself, is going to be like head and a half. Yeah, head and a half like this tall, and then you can easily split it because, for example, it's half of the head to mark down, so that's one, and then this in half, so that's it, right? In thirds. Then the shoulders are the circles. Hi Moto, got over here, how are you open has gain? So then the shoulders are in circles, then comes the pelvis bone, which is here. Then of course we can split that into shape we need, more circles, and we are going more or less from the half of those here. well, actually, I've nearly eyeballed it right. It should be slightly lower, like here. So that's that. Same here. So basically, that's how you are making the basic human construction, right? So again, you can see that it's just a bunch of shapes that are going around. That's nearly the same, but actually that goes underneath. So yeah, that's good, like around here. I'm of course using the same, you know, kind of the same trick that you use in traditional art. So I'm measuring with the back of my stylus. So we have that, and then we have, well, sometimes I'm drawing planes for the feet, sometimes I'm drawing, triangles. It can be done in a couple different ways. Then we have this for the arms, going same length. And that's like more or less the basic construction for a human. It's simple as that, but you can see you can see that it's literally, you know, how more or less how it goes. The text on top. Oh. Yeah. So basically, that's the main principle of learning art. And basically, we are going to use the same thing to study environmental art. Basically, that's my nemesis. Also, hi Muto Gatevi here, how are you? How are you? Hope your has going. Hi Zaga Gatevi here, how are you? Hope your has going. So yeah, basically my main nemesis right now is actually not humans, not coloring, no nothing, it's environmental art. And the main issue with me having those is actually the fact that I'm struggling to make it fit into this style, because I've noticed that actually Notuna's backgrounds and generally objects are more realistic than his characters. But this is literally how we are going to also learn the environmental art. So, because I've been drawing those for such a long time, that more or less the muscle memory kicks in, right? So no matter what kind of, like, you know, facial structure, if I want like a cube for the head or something, it's all just going to be, you know, more or less in the same kind of plane. So that's that. And basically, I think we might want to start from some simple objects, like everyday use objects, like maybe couch, pens, pencils, milk cartons, you know, like smaller objects which I can easily deconstruct before we jump into bigger images. First, it's better for me to learn the elements of the environmental art, from what I've noticed, than actually making the entire thing. Mostly because I assume that this is how it goes for most of the people. People imagine a cube. Inside of this cube is like a glass cube. And inside of this glass cube, there's a scene. And basically they rotate that cube around, you know? So they rotate the cube around, and basically they have like better vision, so they can like rotate things and keep stuff in check when it comes to like where everything's supposed to be positioned. My main issue is that I literally cannot do that, which sucks for me because it's literally the main element that I'm supposed to go for. Hi Jax, I got here. How are you? Hoping how's going? I'm just drawing the thing. I'm just drawing, going to learn some environmental art. It's a study stream today, so we are going to learn something. So basically there's a lot of rules for environmental art with illustration purposes. Like for example, the abstraction and such. So, you know, we have a camera view, right? And if we have an object here and there's a object here, and so of course, as we are looking here, chunk of it is going to be of this object here is going to be restricted from us because our camera view doesn't really see that. Good luck, I'll be joining along. Alrighty, Jaxai, alrighty. It's not exactly how you think it works. Oh, I see. So basically I mean, the imagination. Oh, I see. Um, well, then yeah. Talk about imagination, right? But yeah. So basically, it's that rule, the abstraction rule. So basically, there are going to be elements that are going to be abstracted by another element. So for example, if I'm going to draw a ball, portion of the cube behind the ball, of course, the cube is going to be smaller, but portion of the cube is going to be not visible, and that's basically the rule. Simple as that. And another thing that you can use is, for example, making those some kind of like weird shapes like cones, balls, and such connected. Which is also going to help because, for example, if I want to draw a cane, I can just draw it based like from those simple shapes. Same with animals and such, so like no biggie. You can do a lot of things with those. It's the magic. But the thing is that I guess I want to learn how to fit into my style, which is like those thinner lines actually, which I'm having issues with. And you can see that my hand is very shaky. But I'm just kind of drawing it fast, but it's because I want to like comprehend a couple things. So for example, when I have a connection, like I know that the objects are connected, but for example, some are protruding, like this one, I don't even have to make like a complete line, although it's going to kind of look like they are, because like if I do this, it looks like it's like plain, right? Like it's connected one to one. But the moment I'm starting to add element here, it starts to look like it's starting to protrude a little. It might even appear like as if it's kind of wrapping on itself. But if I keep things like thinner line here, you can see that it's actually going to look like the ball is not really covering the entire bottom side of it here, right? And that's what we are going for. And same, for example, if I'm going to add like a cylinder here, so a cylinder here. And we are foreshortening the cylinder right now, right? And kind of the same rule. It's not going to be here, it's not going to be here, it's just going to like kind of go in. And then we have like elements inside. I'm also kind of figuring things out, how I can like like update myself, you know, with what I want to achieve. So for example, like now you can see that I'm kind of right away going for a more humanoid thing, but I guess it's way better to study with something that you're familiar with. So let's say that it's like a doll. It's going to be like little doll kind of thing. So you have this huge nose, and then we have the neck too, right? Let's give it maybe a rectangular body. And the same rule here, because those are connected. Now, we have a connection between elements that are overlapping one another. This is what I've talked about, right? So we are not going, of course, we are not going to see some elements, but where do we go from here? Do I like thicken the line around here to show that it's disappearing? In theory, I could. Is it going to look good? Probably. Should I be making... No, I don't think I should be making connection here. Yeah. But it works like that. Also, Zega, how is the imagination looking like? Tell me. How does it work? But yeah. This is like the main fragment. here. Like the main case for us. So if I'll at least comprehend that, I should be doing good. So now we have couple. This is also why I'm doing this. Let me tell you why. You can see that whatever I'm doing here, it has some kind of shape, but it's more complicated shape. First of all, overlap here, right? Like, what do we do with the overlap? Do we thicken out the lines that are overlapping on one on top of another? But then how am I supposed to do this without picking up too much attention? Because you can see that the moment I thickened up the doll's line here to the nose, it starts to be a bit more problematic. And then we have the sharp edges, right? Because we only see this here, but it's like connected to the ball, so it's like, of course I can't really do that here. But over here, those are not like connected to anything. It's like one object. So then how do I do it? To show that it's somewhere. I have a really good comparison, but I want to avoid the topic. Okay. Okay. Alright. That's fine. So, yeah, we have some, you know, way to do things. Yeah. And then that line goes the same here. So I feel like the lines that we should be doing should be like broken, right? So for example, like inside lines that we know are going to like be some kind of edge, maybe we could make some kind of like figurative edge here and break it. That works fine. And basically everything else is going to be surrounding it. Yeah. Yep. That works. Look. That works. That actually works fine with everything else, because you can kind of see that there's an edge to it, but it's not necessarily like very restrictive or eye-catching because it's like inside line. And now I know that actually this is the same thing I can do for my sketches in the future. Good to know. You know, good to know. So now let's go into something deeper. I'm going to go on Pinterest. I'm going to go on Pinterest and I need some objects. Give me random objects, folks. Come on, give me random objects. You can write in the chat. What do you think I should be drawing when it comes to the items? Like objects like chair, or a table, or like something smaller, like a phone. I'm going to rethink which one I want to go for. Yeah. Draw. Microwave. Well, I guess we can draw some microwave. Yeah, I guess you can draw some microwave. You know, some microwave. Also, I'm going to show you more or less what I'm talking about when it comes to my lines. So, for example, this is how one of those studies looks like, right? You can see that the person here does the same thing. Or vending machine, because they have insides visible. Yeah, and that might actually be interesting for me to pick up. So that's actually one of those, you know, and it's literally how I would go for learning those things. And people also do the same, like they are, you know, picking up items, they are like deconstructing them, placing items around, you know, like making them like part by part. Yeah. So vending machine drawing logo. Not logo, just drawing. Or, well, photo for drawing. Photo for drawing. There we go. Vending machine microwave. Okay. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. You know what? I'm just going to take vending machine and that's it. There are only photos. Or, okay, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it. I got some nice photo. And now, microwave. Um, okay, I've got a photo. I'm not sure if that's the kind of photo I was thinking about. Z-cut. Okay, so let's start drawing finally. Okay, so it's mostly vending machines. What is important for vending machines? They are rectangular, right? They're rectangular, so we want to draw them rectangular. So let's try to draw it with no issues. So basically, vending machines are taller items, so we have to keep that in mind. And I think for the items inside, I would either just paint them in, so no line art, maybe just show them on sketch very loosely. Okay, I need to like fix my lines and use the elbow and entire arm for those lines because that's, yeah. That's a really long line to go with. Like that, and like that. Also, that line is not straight. God damn it. My OCD kicks in, isn't it? Cherry sour are good candies. Yes. That one is not in a particular kind of a perspective, so we don't have to worry about much. Okay, I think we're around there. Zega, how are you doing today? This looks isometric too, though. Yeah. I got like some random Japanese vending machine as a reference, so, and it's kind of going to look isometric, so don't worry. I'm trying to spend a lot of time on refining this because I want to spend a little bit more time comprehending the entire thing, you know. Wouldn't it be better for me to use a line tool and draw those lines? But then, like, it's not going to look natural, right? But everyone says, like, if you have a tool, you should be using it. I'm kind of a dum-dum not because of not using the line tool. But oh well. Fish. Japanese know how to make good vending machine. They can afford to pull cool stuff on the street in a trust and discipline-based society. Nobody breaks them for fun. Yeah, I wanted Japan. Hi Skylar, got Ivy here. How are you? How's it going? Hi hi. Guess what? My birthday's on Sunday. Hey, happy early birthday! It's so close. I'll be 27. Holy! Oh my, I'll be 26 in 2 weeks. January 27th. You're a year younger than me. Yeah. So it would seem like. A happy early birthday of us having birthday in January. True though. True. Not me. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool though. It's pretty cool. So I'm making the line slightly smaller. We can make a birthday for you if you feel left out. Imagine. Hmm. Now. We have elements that are inside like this. Those supposed to be straight lines. Here. All planned out. Oh my. Okay. Okay. Also, I've seen something funny today. A video where someone walked up to a scalper, like trying to make the, trying to just get the Pokemon cards or something. I didn't recognize the boxes. So basically, the guy walked up to his thing and started like ripping the foil on all of them. The scalper literally bursted out crying because it's ripped foil. He can't scalp them out because it's not actual foil on it. Like people could still buy it, but he made him like drop the entire the entire thing. That was pretty funny. Also, I can't really understand the scalper's culture. Scalpers are like weird, like different dimension creatures, I swear. But we should normalize breaking foil on the product of the scalpers baskets. I am telling you. Boy. Blip. Blip. Tight. Sorry that I'm not speaking much. I'm kind of trying to figure the stuff out. Hi, Maurice. Good to have you here. How are you? How's it going? I live in that box you're drawing in right now, by the way. Hi, hello. Oh my. I'm living in your walls. I live inside you. Also, I find it funny how the boys actually went in and took the Ant-Man meme with how Ant-Man is going to beat Thanos. That's pretty funny. I still kind of don't really like the way how animated series and movie series are way different from the actual comic books. Do you folks know? Sorry, I can't speak. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Do you folks know how hard it is to find like something good made based off of the comic books? It's actually impossible. Because like I find like all of the movies not really good enough to be comparable to the actual comic books, the actual material. I have an economics exam tomorrow. I don't wanna. I have probably a talk with the client about delays on loadings and unloadings because the freaking plant that we're loading and unloading on is making it difficult. Please. It's literally like today they've literally crossed the line with it. We need all of that to be like in one place. Why does it have to be such a bother? I just want a simple job that will allow me to like you know come back home and not really care about nothing. No school talk. I don't want to think about it. Yeah, soon trademark. Yeah, see, my lines are all crooked. Look at that. Look at all those lines. That's the issue. That's the issue, you know? So yeah, sure, I can make the lines, you know? Like those kind of guides to follow, but I need to know wherever I'm doing something wrong with the positioning and such. So I do feel like I need to start using the line tool to actually establish at least the backgrounds. For some reason, it works better for me to use it this way per... look at all those chickens. Yeah. Eat, eat, eat. Oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Sorry, I'm just a little bit, you know, focusing now. Yeah, and that should... no, that's not going to work. That is going to work. That's the line that we are looking for. Okay. Now I know that I want something like this here, then here. Right, then something similar here. And I know that there's going to be something coming off of here. It's either that or using line, like the ruler tool for everything. Kinda, you know. Because if I'm going to use ruler tool for everything, I know that my lines are not going to be shaky, and I'll be able to actually keep a bit better hand over things. I'm not sure why I have such shaky hands, especially recently. I think it's because of the stress and such. Okay, let's try it out again, but without those. I'm just going to... I need to just draw a box, right? So let's first draw it Amphas. Imagine now we are going to spend an entire stream just on drawing a freaking, you know, just some freaking thing like this. And look at that. Baba, an entire line disappears because it's not even. I don't get mad, I get even. I've changed the grammar. Oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, let's just ignore the fact and let's keep the... at least for now, let's just keep the more natural feel with the lines when they are not really even. Like, look at that one. Like, how can I be 90 degrees, like, you know, and go top to bottom on the line and still have the same issue? This is the same reason why my sketches are taking me so long, because I'm trying to figure out the line, but it's just, you know, for now it's just a little bit, you know, difficult, I guess. Impossible to really make it proper. So. My plan is to come back to 7 streams a week. I know I'm going to be very tired. But and you can see that there are going to be moments where for example my work is going to come in like the last stream. I really don't want this to be happening, but sometimes I have to, you know, just to stay low, I guess, and not to get fired. Too bad it's after my work time and I'm not getting paid for it, so that's kind of like work without, you know, anything. I guess I would do much better off of doing commissions on the internet, but you know, who can say? Who can say? Who can say? Um, yeah. Well, folks, how was your days? Tell me, please tell me. I want to hear your how are your days? What are you planning? What do you think you can do? I do believe that it's going to be way better for us. Hmm. Guess we are just kinda just rocking everything here. Hmm. Entering you. Let's go. Let's go. Uh, it's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. Right. I guess we have like three, you know, lines here. Next one's here. The next one's here. That line needs to be like in between here. Yeah. So now we have that with a bit better view on this. There's like a thing here. I guess that's, no, that's not the part where you're picking up the items. There's this. Actually, that's supposed to be longer. From what I see. Okay. There we have this. We have that. Okay. And finally, there's this. And this plus those. I think that one is actually like a place to pick up the either the money, I guess, or not sure. It's like a weird orange thing. Yeah. Alright. Alright. I guess I could also make it taller, the thing. Okay. All right. All right. That makes sense, but it's very wobbly. Also, it's not really in any kind of perspective, and the lines makes no sense compared to what I have. And this is exactly what I I was kind of talking about. This is how I would draw it without much. And I see that there's like many like differences to what it's supposed to be. And like despite me still using my sketching and like simple lines, I'm still having difficulties with figuring out the shape of it. But basically the simple shape method works. You could see me doing those things, right? Where you could see me using all of that. And okay, I do understand, I do like the way how it works. And basically I really enjoy the way how I can just, you know, build upon the with the simple shapes and stuff. But my main issue right now is the sheer fact that I just can't really place my finger on it. Like, how am I supposed to draw those items with in the with the exact method I'm going for? So how am I supposed to draw them with those thinner lines and all those like rules that I'm kind of trying to place on everything? At the same time, I kind of see that it might also be more or less how Rino Tuna is making his works, at least his backgrounds. And for that, let me show you. Let me show you. So, for example, if we are going to look at that artwork of a witch that he made, you can see from like how the exactly the surrounding looks like, and you can see that it's more or less the same thing. Like the insides don't even have the don't even have the lines, and the closer I look, the more it seems like actually his lines are also pretty wobbly. Besides the characters, I guess, like the characters that he's doing, and like generally the main thing. That's cool. That's cool. I think this thing was actually like separate. Yeah, it seems to be way too linear. I think he used here a brush for it. What the deal with those grapes? Grapes? What grapes? It's eggplant, aubergine. And here we have like things, I don't know, like swimming in the potions. So it's like a, like a witch, basically, with many different like things. Yeah. So basically, I see that, for example, inside of it, you don't really get as many lines. So I guess it should looks like pickled fairies. Yeah, maybe a snack for later. So it looks like I should be doing more or less like this, just like not really bother with it, just paint over it, And it's supposed to be my sketch, I guess, and just color things and then paint on top of it. In his style, that makes sense, but hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think I've got something. I think I've got something. So like this, I guess that's once again going to look like it's, you know, I'm going to just copy and paste that. Okay. We're going here, we're going here. I'm thinking the lines here and there. I'm doing this now without any reference photo, by the way. All right. This. Okay. Yeah, that works. That works. And there should be a line here. Going like that. And similar one here. I'm still making scratchy lines right now because like I feel it's because I'm not really sure of my hand basically. I guess it's because it's pretty bad spot because I've got a hole in my plastic cover right there. Yes, I've drew so much that I literally made an entire hole in there. All right. I've got one already prepared. I'm just too lazy to like exchange it at this point. All right. No, there's that. Okay. We good, we good, we good. I'm really sorry that I'm not talking much. Yeah, I'm just focusing a lot. I guess it makes sense. And now this, for example, right? And it has to be also in perspective. All right. And those lines also need to be thinner. You can see that I'm utilizing also a little bit more shapes to it. But I guess you can't really do something like that. You know, you can't really draw an object like that with the simple shapes directly. Like I can draw humans. You know how I'm capable to just draw the thing, erase some lines basically, and I've got the thing I wanted to draw, right? The entire human, and I just need to draw on top of it some details. It's not the case here. That's why it was so confusing for me. I kind of have a better grip on that. But I guess it's for now. It's just like trying to feel my way around for it, you know. So we have this here, and then we have, for example, something here, and they're like holes. And then we've got like something here. Yeah. So those objects at this point, I feel like they should be painted inside instead of the thing. So like there's, I guess, some kind of thickness to the lines, and at some point you are reaching the thickness level where you just have to paint in the object, right? Overpaint the thing, because the background elements shouldn't be eye-catching. Like for now, yeah, sure, I can like keep it like this, but in general, like grand scheme of everything, I shouldn't be really making the lines as thick. Like the background elements already should, even close ones to the characters, should be already you know, should be already figured out at this point, I guess. Because otherwise the background elements are just going to keep added with, you know, just being in our eyes, right? And when we are drawing illustration, we want to show the character mostly. Sometimes there are illustrations that you want to, you know, draw like the entire, like tell a story, not necessarily showing the character, but you know, you catch the drift, right? So that's the thing. And yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah. So that's the, you know, general concept of it all. Okay. Okay. So does that I guess with the microwave it would be the same, you know? Like, but like the rectangle is going to be a bit different. So like we're going like this, and this. We've got a side panel here. Some thickening here and here. And basically they're going to be like a window inside here. Imagine having a Furby inside of your microwave and just letting it run. Yeah, that looks cool though. I guess. Oh no, what's up? You gotta go? Furby in the microwave? Oh. Yeah. Who didn't wanted to microwave the freaking Furby? And I guess then, like, over here we can make like 3 lines. and just make like a thickening here. Bruh, I want to microwave a Furby then. Yeah. The microwave turned out way better. How did I do that? Wait, let me track back to how I did this. I think I didn't really pay much attention to what I was doing there. Like, I just allowed my hand to like just make moves on its own, I guess. And it looks cool, but it's a sketch. I would need to like draw, like I guess just erase couple lines, draw on top of it to thicken some lines and so on. But at the same time, I need to erase, you know, couple lines to make sure that it's there. On top of the vending machine seems off. Yes, yes, it is. It's screwed up. That I'm aware of. Okay, but this line is going to be, you know. Okay. That's like the lines, you know, fragment. That microwave though, it does look pretty good. Maybe because you have microwave at home and remember it better? Uh, I guess so, but it's totally not like the microwave I'm used to. My microwave looks way differently. You know, because I feel like it's because of the lines I'm doing. But also, you might be right. It's maybe because I've been drawing. I could be possibly having already an like idea how microwave's supposed to look like. Maybe machine looks more like a server rack. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, let's make a line here, but it's also going to go like, or maybe, yeah, let's just do it differently. That line is off. Now it's good. This goes here. And there's like room for your hand. And then there would be the, I guess, one of those like things to tap your credit card. Okay. Okay, I guess. I believe that this one is a bit too big. There would be a screen for what you're buying. And over here there would be a keypad to type in your order, I guess. Um, hmm. I believe that this is like the very common design for those. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes so much more sense. And then I can make like smaller line here to show that it's like a thickened up space. Same here. Line here. Yeah. Still a bit more messy than the microwave, but I've already cleared out microwave, you know? So it's like a bit different. It looks good. It looks good this way. It looks better than the last one. Okay. Yeah. That looks way better. Okay. Mm. Mm. Let's get like a chair. Okay. And mm, mm, all right. That makes much more sense. So, actually, it does seem much more logical now for me, you know? It does seem now much more logical for me. And I think I know a bit more regarding like structuring the items, but you know what's going to be a pain in the neck? The sheer amount of work that we'll have to put into one illustration. Considering like how much work it would have to be done for each like environmental object, basically. That's like yeah. We're kind of screwed, you know what I mean? Um Yeah. Bro. And then we have this. Yeah, like I've already kind of practiced those things, but you can see that I'm still struggling with that. This kind of proves the point that you know, quite often the um, quite often the study session is necessary. And I guess we are just going to walk around and do things like this once in a while, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that we are going to do that on weekly basis, but I guess since we are going to have, you know, much more streams now, well, two more streams in general, because we've had mostly all this like bunch of streams minus 2 days, I guess, or 3, because one day was for gaming. We'll see. I do feel like it's going to be a bit more, like, you know, like um, much more ideal for it. Yeah. And we have that. Perfect. Okay. So those items at this point doesn't really have to be like perfect, because we are not really drawing the. We are just kind of trying to for now comprehend the principle right here. So you can see that it's like more or less the same thing, right? I believe it would be easier for me to create like a space, you know, with cubes. So like a cube with bunch of cubes inside, and those cubes are then going to be like inside of those cubes there are going to be like simplified versions with simple shapes, you know, simplified versions of items made out of simple shapes, and then we are going to refine them. I believe that this might be the fastest element here. All these squares make a circle. All the squares make a circle. What? But yeah, this would be it. And huh. I guess it's not really going to be to make such a problem the moment I'm going to actually have some kind of like room, like plan for rooms. So in theory, it would look like, you know, oh, I'm going to start preparing things for the illustration. I know that it's going to happen in a room, so I'm going to make the plan of the room, right? And based off of that, I can just make a room like this. Right? Of course, if it would be a straight rectangle. Come on. Yeah. Okay. And now we have this. Okay. And I know, and I can like sit down and kind of establish how things are going to look like. So, for example, there is going to be a window here. There's going to be like a wall here, I guess. Um, Doors. Let's say some kind of cabinet. And to be fair, we can kind of, and when we have something like that, we know that we can like establish your own room, lol. Yeah, I didn't even picked up on that, but yeah. So to fulfill things. Also, how the fuck do you know how my room looks like? And there will be a chair and AC here. Yes, that's actually how huge my room is. So it's from the window. Oh, yeah. That's actually how much space I've got for myself. I literally just rotate my rotate my chair and I can go to sleep. I want to change things a little. Because I kind of need the thing. But now considering that, let's say I want to show things more or less like here, right? I want to make this my focal point, some sort. And let's say I want to make it visible from here, so I'm going to see only those items like that, for example, because we are going to have a bit more realistic thing. So this is how the plans would be. I don't have to, like, for now really establish stuff, but I know already that we are not going to see all of those things, and we are going to focus most likely, and I want to stretch it just so I would see that pad on the far left side, drawing pad. No. What you mean drawing pad? I believe horizon is going to be like more or less in the middle here. I believe there's going to be like bunch of transformations that we'll have to do. Tablet? No, my tablet is right in front of me. And above I see my TV, which is my monitor in general. So we're going to see things like this. Right. And now let's make, it'll take a moment. I've That's why I don't really feel like I have to like figure out how big my canvas is supposed to be in general, you know? Uh I'm thinking maybe not 10,000, but I don't know. We'll see. I've seen people drawing on 10,000 by 10,000 or 5k by 5k. I've seen people like that. That's exactly that, you know what I mean? Let me get a mint. I've got some of those mint stripes. They taste like peppermint. Mm-hmm. Mm. And now the free transform because we want to flatten the things a little. And let's say now I just need to make it bigger, and we will know how, because this is more or less how it's supposed to look like. Mm. Again, waiting for Clip Studio Paint to catch up. Okay, now let's just make it slightly bigger. Like this. Yeah, because we are not really going to have much things going on. And we see that the like where the horizon line is going to be, because our horizon line is here. Well, maybe here, but you know, whatever. Now. Yeah. Now in theory I can change the opacity of that, and I know that there's going to be like one element, right? I'm going to make it like this because like, or maybe actually, just like that. There you go. And we kind of want to go with that line because that's how, you know, because if you are like, we want to reference the walls of the room. And basically that's for one item, then the bed, which is going to stick from here. And then we have the chair, which is going to be like also here. The thing about like drawing the chair and such, it's actually pretty weird because they're one of those elements that they don't really have like strictly established perspective because they don't have to be relative to any kind of perspective. That's why you can just make them being drawn around with things. And basically like over here there would be another line, and we see this and another line here for the window, and another setup for the AC. Yeah, more or less. And now you see why I feel like it's very very chaotic, because you can see that it's already impossible to really establish what's going on. But I guess we can keep this as a point of attachment and just split things. So like this is going to be the desk, and the desk goes like here. All right. That's fixed. No, relative, right? So you can kind of say that somewhere out of this view, there's another varnishing point. Right. So that was the desk. Now there's going to be the bed as separate items. Okay. Chair. Actually, the chair is slightly taller, but definitely not a baller. I'm kind of trying to draw things from memory, I guess. So I figured out why my lines are so shaky. Literally, whenever I'm pulling down my tablet, I hear this scratching on the lines, and those are like microscopic bumps, which are unfortunately causing the jagginess of my lines. I need to exchange the thing. Also, those lines are not relative to each other. They are not parallel. Yeah. So that's that. And we want to make a new thing. That's going to be the AC. So basically I am now kind of trying to figure out and make objects for each item of sorts, right? Oh my. And here, relative lines. Oh, brother, that sucks. The AC can be smaller. Okay, and then we have the um, bookshelf. Okay, relative line. Okay, and we are taking another bookshelf. Right, and now underneath it all, I'm making something called a floor. Above the floor, I'm making the wall, and now the floor, I'm making it just like, on our reference here, right? Yeah, because they are here. We can also adjust items later on, but sometimes it's actually better to stay with what we want. Because first of all, it's just going to be easier for you, but whatever. Sometimes it's also better to just keep with your original plan that you've wrote down, because just look at that. But in the end, you see that yeah, all of them are relatively in the same space. They have pretty much everything that I need them to have. So that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. Chair is in the right place, bed is in the right place. Desk. Let's make the desk a bit like this. Yeah, like that. Okay. We are just going to fix the lines later on. Okay. And basically, I would try to define every single item separately. That's, starting with the floor, right? So I guess just, that's my floor line. Well, I guess the wall is going to be useless at this point. By making the wall and floor line thin, even breaking, as if they're like part of one of the same object, it just would need the thing. So yeah. Then I'm going to draw the desk, which is going to look a bit differently because that line goes all the way here. And that lines go like this. Okay. It's easier to hide elements now. Let's try to draw the desk. It's not going to be really that difficult. So we have a line here. I guess I can extend it here. Although my desk is rounded, actually. If we are going for it, I guess we can just go for it. So it's going to be like a half circle here, like this. Yeah. Okay. Damn. That makes so much sense, to be fair. That makes so much sense. And over here I have rounded out part 2. Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking about right, actually, as I see. And then over here there's like similarly made thingy-majig. It sticks out a little. And then over here we have a connection between the two. So that's some kind of shelf, and basically that shelf goes back to everything else. I've got pretty complicated to draw desk, but look at that. It starts to look with much more sense, actually. Yeah, look at this. I like it, actually. Hey! So this works. This method works. This method definitely works. I do feel like it's starting to, make a bit more sense right now. Hell yeah. But then I have to also make those lines thinner. Same here, because they're like kind of connecting, I assume. Well, I know for sure that this line needs to be thick. And that line must be thinner. So like basically like this, right? That broken line I've talked about. And then that is a separate object to this, so relatively this one's also going to be thicker. And then we are, you know, wrapping everything around, and this one is also going to have that like broken line of some sorts. Okay, but maybe this one needs to also be a bit sharper like this. Yeah. And that means I'm doing like this and this. Okay. Works fine, works fine. Bueno. And now, huh, interesting. Bed. Bed is going to be simple. I don't really have much complicated bed. It's just like a small thing here. So I'm making this also with the help of simple shapes. I can erase these. Something like that going here. And this. Yeah. And the line here needs to be like those thinner ones broken lines. Interesting. I'm starting to have a gist of it. I'm really liking this. I'm happy. That makes me really darn happy. How do you like it, folks? Is there anything you can point out to me that I might be doing wrong? Like again, I know that we've got some people who are much better with environmental art. Any kind of tip would be acceptable. Like sure, I've been drawing for a long time, but like I've been character artist, right? Character and concept artist, and even in concept art, my backgrounds suck, and I kind of need to finally make the step up and learn how to do those things properly. Huh. The bed needs to be bigger, like this. See, this is another element that I can have control over when I'm going to work around with the elements. I can, as separate objects, I can control them and, you know, resize them and such without having to worry. Of course, I could just, you know, mark it down if those would be on the same layer, but I feel like it gives me a bit more comfort of work, basically. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Okay. And we've got the chair, and the chair is... It's not like a normal chair, that's for sure. Let me just check time. Okay, 1 hour 40 minutes. Ouch. mm. If they separate, they can be animated to make 3D feel. Yes. Yes, that's also a thing. And I'm like, I want to slightly start getting around into walking on like opening myself to things like spine and just other kinds of animations. basically I kind of really need that to work around this area, you know. So yeah, that makes sense. Gaming chair. I've got one of those um, gaming chairs basically. Also learned someone else wanted to be an animator. Huh? What you mean? I wanted to be an animator. Yeah. That was not exactly what I used to have, but I guess that makes sense. A girl with a pet chicken? Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've talked about that. It's hmm. It takes a lot, if you know what I mean. It takes a lot to get around animations because when you're doing animations, you kind of have to be perfect at everything to this such extent that you can draw the same thing over and over again. It's going to look the same. That's why when there's a new project, when the new anime is about to be released, basically people are just going in around and just draw things, draw the characters like the same character over and over again. That's what happened when they were trying to draw Goku and Vegeta, right, for Dragon Ball Super. The fact that Goku and Vegeta didn't really look good in most of the cases was first. A lot of things were far away, and animators didn't really took such care into details as faraway characters, that which actually made them like rotate around to such extent and basically appear with distorted faces and stuff. It was literally caused by the fact that they didn't really train the character designs that are going to animate, which makes things about a bit more difficult really to work around and comprehend basically. So yeah, sometimes sometimes it's better to hmm, sometimes it's better to take things slowly. Animations are good, and when you'll get like more or less a bit better comprehension with all the other like fragments and such, then I can recommend to get into animations. If you still feel like you have some issues with, let's say, fundamentals like characters, style, and such, I would be strongly against. There you go. I would be strongly against the getting into animations because it's just it's just going to be too difficult for you to just work around all those elements. They're too important, because, for example, you need to later when you finally get out the gist of the basics, then you have to learn like squash and stretch, right? So, for example, when you have a movement, right, you don't draw hand like this, you're actually drawing your hand like this with high action movement because it's like giving the movement to your animation. It's art is, I guess, just something um, like a visual practice of illusion. So you can see already that it looks like hand which like rapidly is about to slap something, for example. Uh, that's why it's very important to go around, because even when you already get an idea of how to translate the movement into to the image, then it's going to be even easier for you. And well, I'm not saying this to demotivate someone. I just don't want them to burn themselves out before even getting around it, because animations do take a lot of practice. That's why it's hard to find a highly experienced animator nowadays, because animations used to be something that you've had like just bunch of people who were already like highly experienced and they were appearing everywhere, and basically new people, new hires weren't really taken anywhere, and mostly they were working only on one thing. I'm getting bombarded on my phone. They need to learn to wait. I'm streaming right now. I guess it's nothing bad. It's like that the guys, loading, unloading, or something like this, just informations or asking me about something. So they can wait. I'm going to let them know later on. So I'm going to go back to my trusty number 10 pixel thingy. Okay. Okay. I guess, I don't want to get into animations, but I guess making like simple splash screens is also going to be, fascinating, I think. Also, considering that I'm already at it, I guess I can finish that, draw Davis, separate some parts that I want to animate, slap it into the spine, and make for myself a splash screen, as waiting screen or ending screen. Because I do lack those, I am lacking these. I wish I could also boost my streaming time. I want to stream longer, but I can't on weekdays. On weekdays I have to stream for 2 hours. Uh, Whatever. I'm starting to notice that work is starting to affect more and more my private time and streaming, for example. Like I also want to do stuff like this. Well, I know that my boss is already looking for someone of my on my position. The question is who's if he's searching because he sees that there's just too much work around, or if he wants to exchange me or someone else. Like, I don't know. If he's going to do that, I guess I'm unclear, because I'm already like working out my channel. I'm already working out my commissions. You know, I'm getting some cash off of the commissions, basically. The issue is that I've got like a huge backlog on most of my commissions right now. And I still need to make sketches for the other stuff and finish Matara. I like this week is so chaotic. If you, by the way, if you didn't notice yet, I am using a reference photo for this chair, because I would never be able to draw something this complicated from my memory, at least. Holy Spirit, activate! Holy Spirit, activate! Oh my, oh my, oh my. I can wait for the weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to finally, last day of work. My plan is already in. I just need to, you know, look at the loadings and unloadings if everything's going on time, and if not, then what's up? Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Those, yeah, nah, you know what? I know that I'll need to make some kind of thumbnailing before each of my um before each of my illustrations, because now as I'm looking at it, there's no way that I won't be able to draw all those like shapes and whatnot without any kind of references like prepared way before. So like finding the properly looking finding the properly looking items and such to fit into that, because otherwise I'll be doomed, because sure, I can actually skip one huge element, by the way. um Planning of the room, right? Because I can make it in mangaka. Planning of the room can be done in mangaka, so I can like make, okay, this and this, but I don't have to like stick to the designs that I've got in mangaka, because the designs are very vague, and either like, very vague too. So it's not like, I need to work them out on every single one. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, we have that, we have that. Perfect. And it's, yeah, it looks okay, but it's small right now. It's small, it's too small. So I need to empty that square and stretch this element to it. And I guess this needs to be also like that, you know what I mean? And again, like my lines are looking pretty bad. They look way too messy. Once again, we'll need to focus on this. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Right. Yeah. Yeah, now it works. So you can see that already that it's like starting to pick up on more and more time basically. Environmental is going to be way more time consuming than I've originally expected by basically. And yeah, I guess that makes sense, you know? I guess that makes sense because every single piece is going to be its own um its own element, I guess. And you can see that those are like pointing out properly, I guess. Um that element is still like it still feels too big. Like it should be somewhere here because it's like different perspective, right? A bit wonky to me. Uh, it's mostly because this element, I guess. I believe now it looks better. Yeah, slightly. And because it's supposed to be like that, actually, like it's supposed to be wide enough to have element here, I guess. Yeah, just a little bit. If the back arm doesn't seem too much the others. Yeah, that, right? Yeah. I feel like I can do a trickery because it's pretty much like it's supposed to be pretty much symmetrical, so I can just yank the one from the other side, I guess, just to make things easier and faster, like this. And then copy, paste, reverse. Yeah, yeah, just copy and paste. Okay. That works. Okay. So we can freely do those too. Yeah. And now, there's going to be like a little, you know, and then little, and you know what I'm saying? But most of the things you drew today, there was always some off angles. I think you need to focus a bit on those. Yeah. Yes. Angles. Like, how should I focus on those? Like, what should I be doing to improve on that? You know, the angles. I guess like I guess I could try to like get my hand ready by drawing like squares in different angles, which would help a bunch, you know, with drawing a lot that we are drawing. But yeah, at this point, you are 100% right. That's something I've also noticed. I guess I've noticed that some time ago, but I was just trying to work it out, you know, with my usual drawings, you know, like I was trying to pay attention to it, but it's always the same thing. No one saying. So it's like pain in the ass. It's just the angles. That's it. Okay, then this. Yeah, but regular simple grid behind to have any kind of reference and slowly dim it out over time. Have to better idea because can't see the cause. But grid, what you mean by grid? But can instantly feel the lines off so soon you draw it and seemingly ignore it? Huh, I see. Well, it's not like I'm ignoring it, I just don't notice that it's wrong. I guess it's, you know, similar but different things. Okay. Yeah. Looking better but still off. That's what I can say. Looking better but still off. Yeah. Okay. But I guess, we are going to look at how far we are with everything. And I already immediately know that the chair will need to be even bigger. And you can put an isometric grid behind, assume CSP has that. Don't have to strictly follow it like mechanical drawings. Oh, I did a lot of those, maybe that's why I see it. Oh my. Yes, that I do believe that it might be actually the case. Yeah. Skip don't oh. Uh don't have to strictly. Yeah. Didn't I read don't? Don't have to strictly follow it. I think I've said that. And yeah, I think it would be like this big actually. Yeah. So another element that is going to be very irritating for me is that I'm going to have I've noticed that also a lot of my elements are getting small or too big. Like I feel like it's because I'm zooming in and out way too much and it's affecting my perspective on the item. So whenever I'm zooming in and I'm drawing those things, it's actually needing like a bit more time, basically. You know what I mean? So I can't really like, complete all of those things without like changing the sizes because it's always going to kind of get in my way. That's one of the things I might need to work on too. Also, I'm going to like delete that line because we'll redo the grid of for this item. Um, I guess the grid misjudgments, right? Like, yeah. Hmm. So yeah. I guess that would work, you know? You know, the thing with the grid. But at the same time, I can just make guidelines for myself. Like I can use linear tool. You've seen me using the grid, you know? So I guess that's something that I kind of have to use over time. Isn't the grid the same as the guidelines, just don't have to be explicitly drawn? Yes. Yes. So basically, here's the thing. I can make a ruler and I can snap the drawing to the ruler. So whatever I'm drawing is going to be always in the guides of that specific ruler, you know? But I can also make a ruler that is not snapping my brush to it. And that allows me to create this some kind of perspective grid without even using it. I feel like making those squares though, like those simple shapes I've mentioned and did for other items too. I do feel like it's going to be better for those if I'm going to actually use the snapping to the ruler. I'm not talking about those perspective grids. Even simple square grid would help. Huh. Yeah, I guess so then. Hmm. Well, that's a pickle. I am. Yeah. I'm just going to, you know, write that. Folder study. Hmm. Interior and environment. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. That makes so much more sense. You know what I mean? That makes so much more sense. I really like it on that extent. It's pretty cool. Huh. Hi GTA, got over here. How are you? Hope how's going? I was at my friend's house, so I'm late. It's okay, it's okay. When you use the snapping thing, you draw those lines, then when you go freehand, those are no longer useful. Yes. But actually, it helps me to keep in things in proper size and such. So it kind of does help me, you know? Especially in this area, like you've seen me already using the thing. So yeah, I do believe that this step right now where I'm having issues with is actually like the planning out of the furnitures. If you do it with hand with the grid, just being there would help learning to do it without. True. But then again, I don't need to use the hmm. I guess I can just get like the usual like a normal grid kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. It's like we are slowly but surely going around with things. Look at those. It looks cool. It looks cool, but you can see that, you know, things are getting a bit wonky over time. So yeah, I will need to work things out a little over here. Come to think of it, it doesn't look bad. It actually doesn't look bad. It looks okay. Um though I don't know. I don't know. It kind of seems like there's something off. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah. But for example, I don't really draw in this kind of things. I believe I would need a grid that is not going to be in any kind of perspective to do that. Because even without it, I would be able to connect the lines properly. So I guess I just need to do it for myself. But alrighty, folks. So thanks Muto, Zega, and GTA for being active chat on Twitch. Thanks Jocksai, Skylar, and Morris for being active chat on YouTube. Meanwhile, you can resize the grid to make different perspectives. Yeah. I can just free transform it, right? And it's just going to fit any kind of perspective that I need. So I guess we might need to make such grid later on. And yeah, folks, thank you for sitting with me and looking at me struggling with all those like grids and whatnot. It's really, it's really problematic to really fit through all of that. And yeah, stay creative, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Take care.